Welcome back to the DRM News Podcast. We've got something really special happening in the night sky right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's a rare planetary alignment. We're talking
Very cool.
all 7 planets.
Wow.
Yep, all 7 putting on a show just for us Earthlings. And
That's amazing.
this hasn't happened since 1982 and won't happen again until 2040.
Wow.
Let's dive into what makes this event so special and how you can catch it.
Yeah, and what's even more incredible is that this time around, we might actually have the first ever photograph of all of them together.
Okay, that's something I have to hear more about.
Yeah.
What makes this photo so unique?
Well, there's a photographer named Josh Dury. They call him the Starman, and he might have just pulled off the impossible. He took this panorama of 9 images from the Mendip Hills in England, and then he used this special astronomical software to stitch them all together. And the result is potentially a first ever image of all 7 planets and Earth, all taken from Earth.
Right.
Even the Royal Astronomical Society is impressed. They confirm that while spacecraft have captured all the planets before, a photo like this taken from Earth is unheard of.
That's incredible. It really makes you think about how technology has changed the way that we experience these celestial events.
Yeah.
But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's break it down for our listeners. What exactly is a planetary alignment?
Well, a planetary alignment is a visual phenomenon where all the planets in our solar system appear to line up in the sky from our perspective here on Earth.
Okay.
Now, it's important to remember that this is all about perspective. The planets aren't actually forming a straight line out in space. They're still millions, even billions of kilometers apart.
So it's not like they're all huddled together for a cosmic meeting or something.
Not quite. The reason they look aligned is because of their orbits. All the planets in our solar system are orbiting the sun on roughly the same plane. It's called the ecliptic plane. And since we view them from Earth, which is also on that plane, we get this illusion of a lineup when they reach certain points in their orbits.
So they're like runners on a track, all going in the same direction, but spaced out at different points in the race.
That's a great way to visualize it.
Okay.
Now, if you're ready to witness this planetary parade for yourself, you need to mark your calendars for February 28th, 2025, and get ready shortly after sunset.
Okay. And where should we be looking?
You'll want to find a spot with dark, cloudless skies and a clear view of the western horizon. That's where the show will start.
So can we see all 7 planets with the naked eye, or do we need special equipment?
Here's the exciting part. 5 of the planets will be visible to the naked eye: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. You'll be able to tell them apart from stars because planets shine steadily while stars twinkle. Venus will be the brightest. Mars has kind of a reddish glow, and Saturn, the lowest in the sky, might be the trickiest one to spot.
Okay, so we can spot most of them just by looking up. What about Uranus and Neptune?
To see those, you'll need binoculars or a telescope.
Oh.
They're much fainter and farther away, so they're harder to see without some help.
So those are our bonus planets for the more dedicated sky watchers. Any tips for finding those hidden planets?
Absolutely. This is where stargazing apps really come in handy. They can show you exactly where Uranus and Neptune are in the night sky. They'll look like faint blue orbs. Spotting them can be a challenge, especially with light pollution. But trust me, the reward is worth it.
I love a good astronomical treasure hunt. So we've got 5 planets we can see with just our eyes and 2 that require a little extra effort. What makes this particular alignment so special? Is it just about the number of planets involved?
It's definitely rare to have all 7 planets visible like this, but there's something else that makes this alignment truly remarkable. Think about it. We're talking about the celestial bodies separated by vast distances. Yet from our viewpoint on Earth, they appear as these pinpoints of light seemingly so close. It really highlights how our perspective shapes our understanding of the universe.
Yeah, it is pretty mind-blowing to think about the sheer scale of it all. It's like those forced perspective photos where someone's pretending to hold up the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It all depends on where you're standing, or in this case, where Earth is situated in its journey around the sun.
Precisely. And that's just one of the many things that make this alignment so fascinating. It's not just about seeing these planets. It's about appreciating the vastness and wonder of the cosmos and our unique place within it.
Yeah.
And that brings us to a fascinating point. How these planets have captivated humanity for centuries.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, throughout history, these planetary alignments have been interpreted in so many different ways,
Really?
often with a mix of awe and apprehension.
You mean like seeing them as like omens or signs or something?
Exactly. In many ancient cultures, these alignments were seen as really powerful events that could foretell either good fortune or disaster. Astrologers believed that the position of the planets actually influenced human affairs, and alignments were thought to amplify those influences.
Oh, wow. So like a cosmic power play written in the stars.
You could say that, for example, Babylonian astronomers really meticulously tracked the planet's movements.
Wow.
They believed they held the key to understanding the will of the gods. And in ancient China, alignments were seen as these signals that could predict, like, the rise and fall of dynasties.
It's amazing to think about how these events shaped their beliefs and influenced their decisions. It makes you wonder, do any of those interpretations still hold weight today?
Well, it's interesting because while ancient cultures often interpreted these alignments through a really mystical lens, modern science offers a different viewpoint.
Okay.
We now know that these alignments are simply a matter of celestial mechanics.
Uh-huh.
It's just the result of the planet's predictable orbital paths.
So no need to worry about any apocalyptic prophecies or sudden shifts in our destinies because of this alignment.
Not at all. From a scientific perspective, they're really fascinating visual events, but they don't directly impact our lives here on Earth.
Well, that's good to know. I think I'd still be a little nervous if I thought a planetary alignment meant like bad luck was coming my way.
I understand. But even though we have a scientific understanding now, it doesn't take away from the sense of awe that they inspire.
Right.
These alignments offer a fantastic opportunity to engage with astronomy and explore our cosmic neighborhood. Speaking of exploring, let's focus on some of the individual planets that we can see during this event. What stands out to you?
Well, Venus is always a showstopper. It's usually the brightest planet that we can see, even outshining the North Star. I remember reading that it's often called the morning star or the evening star
Oh, right.
because it's visible right before sunrise or just after sunset.
That's right. Venus is often one of the first celestial objects you'll spot in the evenings. Yeah. It's a smaller planet than Earth and much colder, but it's one of the most intensely studied planets because scientists believe it may have once been capable of supporting life.
Wow, a rusty planet that might have harbored life. That's incredible. What about Saturn? I can't forget about Saturn and its iconic rings. Any chance we'll get a glimpse of them during this alignment?
Unfortunately, you'll need a telescope to see Saturn's rings clearly, but even without one, it's still a really captivating sight. It's the farthest planet easily visible with the naked eye,
Okay.
and its yellowish hue distinguishes it from the other planets in the night sky.
I'll definitely be trying to spot that yellowish hue. We've talked about the planets visible to the naked eye, but what about those hidden ones, Uranus and Neptune?
Exactly. Uranus and Neptune are much fainter and farther away, making them really difficult to see without binoculars or a telescope. Even with binoculars, they can be a challenge to locate, especially if there's light pollution in your area.
So it sounds like a stargazing app will be essential for finding them. It's amazing to think about those faint points of light are entire worlds with their own unique features and mysteries.
It really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? And that brings us back to the significance of this alignment. It's a reminder of the incredible diversity and vastness of our solar system and all the wonders that are out there waiting to be explored.
I love that. Okay, so for everyone excited about this celestial event, we've covered what a planetary alignment is, how to view it, and even touched on some fascinating historical interpretations. But are there any practical tips or tricks we could share to make the most of the viewing experience?
One of the best tips, and I can't emphasize this enough, is to be patient.
Oh, okay.
Celestial events like this unfold on their own schedule. Don't expect the planets to immediately pop out after sunset.
So no need to rush out the door right at sunset.
Exactly. Give your eyes some time to adjust to the darkness. And while you're waiting for the show to begin, take some time to appreciate the full beauty of the night sky.
Yeah, there's so much to see out there beyond just the planets,
Oh, yeah.
like constellations and shooting stars, and even the Milky Way. It's like a whole other world is unfolding above us.
It really is a breathtaking sight. And you never know, maybe while you're out there gazing up at the stars, you'll make your own discovery, just like Josh Deary did with his panorama.
I love that thought. So as we wrap up our exploration of this remarkable planetary alignment, we want to make sure you're ready to witness it firsthand. We've talked about finding dark skies using a stargazing app and being patient. Are there any other tips for optimizing our viewing experience?
You mentioned light pollution earlier, and that's a big one. If you can try to get away from city lights, the darker your surroundings, the more you'll be able to see.
So a trip out to the countryside might be in order.
Exactly. And if you're using binoculars or a telescope, give yourself some time to get familiar with them before heading out.
Practice makes perfect, right?
Absolutely. And don't forget to dress warmly. Evenings can get chilly, especially if you're standing still for a while.
Great point. I know from experience that stargazing can turn into a shivering experience if you're not prepared. Yeah. We've covered a lot of ground in this episode, from what a planetary alignment is and how to view it, to the fascinating history and science behind these events. For our listeners who want to dive deeper, we've compiled some resources for you.
Yeah, we've got links to some great stargazing apps that can help you identify the planet's websites with detailed viewing guides and tips for optimizing your observation experience, and even information about local astronomy clubs where you can connect with fellow enthusiasts.
Awesome. We'll be sure to post all these resources in the show notes. And remember, whether you're an astronomy buff or just starting out, this planetary alignment is an opportunity to step outside, look up at the night sky, and just marvel at the beauty of our universe.
It's a chance to connect with something larger than ourselves, and maybe even spark a lifelong fascination with the cosmos.
Beautifully said. So to all our listeners out there, grab your binoculars, download that stargazing app, and get ready for an unforgettable night under the stars. Keep looking up and never stop exploring the wonders of our universe.